You guys know I'm a big fan of the Orlando Magic. You guys know I'm also interviewing Marcin Gortat this Friday, so peep that. It's going to be on USA Today because I work for them on Hoops Hype, but hopefully I can edit it, but I can still post it on this channel for you guys, a little exclusive maybe behind the scenes of me and Marcin Gortat hanging out because I'm doing it in person. But either way, the Orlando Magic are supposedly seriously shopping Markelle Fultz, sad face, and Wendell Carter. We talked about Wendell Carter the other day because Goga Bitsaday is doing a really good job, and he's probably going to be cheaper in the long term to, sign to a multi-year contract to be a big guy, while Wendell Carter, dude, the guy's a starter in this league and they've already paid him, so they probably don't want to keep paying him. And with that being said, what we're specifically hearing, and Markelle Fultz, he's been out with injury this season for a majority of it. I mean, you guys know we've been following Markelle Fultz's career for a while, and this season he's only played 8 games, shooting 45% from the field. He's still really good at getting to the rim, and he's a good defender. It's, obviously injuries have availability is the best type of ability, as they always say. Now, the thing with Markelle is he's a guy who's still athletic and he's got a great length, 6'5", with almost I think it's like a 6'10" wingspan. And he's got, a decent skill set for the modern NBA. But I think the whole thing with him is that when you look at him, he's a guy that with the modern NBA, you do understand that, okay, look, we have this thing called the salary apron, or the apron, and I think Orlando knows you got to pay Franz Wagner. You're going to have to pay freaking Paulo Banchero. Looking like they're going to pay Jalen Suggs. They just paid Cole Anthony. They still have Jonathan Isaac. So you're paying I think 12-13 million to Wendell Carter. You're paying 17 right here. You get 30 million. Let's say they could trade for Gordon Hayward in a first round pick and send Markelle Fultz and Wendell Carter to, per se, the Charlotte Hornets. I'm not saying that's the deal that they should do. I'm just saying that's a deal that they could do. Okay. And yeah, I think the whole reason here is just this team right now is just at a point where it's in their best interest to move forward. Markelle Fultz and Wendell Carter were guys they got in trades, and they were kind of the bridge players, no offense. So it's now time for the Magic to go and get the guy to move those guys for guys that we know will stick around for long term. And not long term, but we have to open up and stay cap flexible till we're for the Franz Wagners, for the Paulo Bancheros. And it's nothing against Markelle. Markelle and Wendell Carter helped us get to where we are. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where we are today. So I'd say it sucks to think that maybe potentially that could be the you know what I mean? Not like how it's not like how I want it to end or anything. Okay? I think we can all agree that everybody would want Wendell Carter and Markelle to be here long term, but the collective bargaining agreement with the new tax aprons, it's just not possible, and it's better to cash out on the asset than to be left uncompensated with Markelle walking. And then Wendell Carter, his value's still there. The less he plays, the more his value goes down. So cash in on that as much as you can right now. The rest of the video will be what we talked about last time. What's going on, guys? And you guys know I'm an Orlando Magic fan. Even though I live down here in South Florida, I've been a Magic fan since 06, I want to say. But look, listen to this. Wendell Carter could be available for trade, according to Mark Stein of the Stein Line. So Wendell Carter, according to Mark Stein, is a player to monitor on the trade market. Let me hear your thoughts down below. Hit that subscribe button. Stein cites the Magic's front court depth / potential logjam and future as a need to sign Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner to extensions, and with Goga Bitsaday playing pretty well, as for a reason why Carter could be moved on. Carter's averaging 8.1 points and 6.5 rebounds this season. Now, that's a down from last year where Wendell Carter was actually like a big piece of the rotation. Last year, he was a 15 for the last 2 years. He was a 15 points per game guy, grabbing basically 9 rebounds over the last 2 years, a few assists, block a game. This year, he's played in 13 games. He's 6'10" with a 7'5" wingspan, and with a guy like Wendell Carter, he is pretty much an automatic double-double as a starter, who is deserving of a sizable role. He has a throwback post-up game, and he can finish in the paint with either hand. Solid face-up game too. He's starting to show a lot more perimeter game, as over the last few seasons he has been, a league average 3-point shooter, and this year he's technically on low sample, shooting 40%, and he's a very smart positional defender, though he doesn't produce huge stats on that end. He, like I said, 6'10" with a 7'5" wingspan. You're gonna be pretty decent at playing D. Now, he's making only $13 million this season, and for the Orlando Magic, that's not that much on the cap, okay? And it's a front-loaded contract, so it's de-escalating. So next year he only makes 11.9. And Markelle Fultz is expiring, Gary Harris is expiring, Joe Ingles has a team option for $11 million, which is insane. Cole Anthony got an extension, so you're looking at this, and Paulo's obviously it's in a few years, but Franz is going to need an extension, probably going to be agreed upon this offseason. Jonathan Isaac and Wendell Carter are guys that, if you package those two, you could also get somebody. For example, if a team like the Hornets offered 2 first-round picks in Gordon Hayward for Jonathan Isaac and Wendell Carter. Obviously, I don't think schematically, and this is all just in a vacuum, I'm not actually putting this trade out there. For those 2 players, you would say yes. So what I'm basically alluding to, if a team offers an expiring contract, a large one, with picks, draft assets, for Wendell Carter and maybe some of our other contracts, I think the Magic would listen. Realistically. And we know that the Magic were looking already to trade Chuma Okeke. That was something we heard a few weeks ago, back in the beginning of December, that they were looking for that. And I know Goga, I believe Goga is an expiring. I'm going to get a confirmation on that in 5 seconds, guys. But I do believe Goga is, I don't think he's under contract for forever, but there's options. And at the same time, who could go for Wendell Carter? A team that needs a starting center. That's where it gets a little difficult to think who would go after him. Technically you could say the Blazers, but it's just and I don't want to seem like I'm being disrespectful or anything, because I do thoroughly enjoy my Magic. Because the Magic, in my opinion, have a good roster, and we've been building something. But on the whole, I don't know if we've put ourselves in the best position, or I've said this. Okay, so let's say the Clippers lose in the first round, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna just blow this up. This is just not working." All right, they're like, "We're done. We're moving on." Would the Magic think about getting Paul George? I think Paul George would be like the perfect former superstar to be like the third guy next to Franz Wagner and Paulo Banchero. I've always thought this. I want to hear your guys' thoughts about that. Here's the information about Chuma Okeke.